Cam Newton can't seem to stay out of the news lately, and this latest headline is another example of why maybe he should keep his mouth shut when it comes to relationships. The infamous Cam Newton, host of the Funky Friday Show on his Cam Newton YouTube page and 4th and 1, his sports page, both on YouTube, right? He has a lot of subscribers, very entertaining. This headline right here that you're seeing from the New York Post comes clean off of last week. He was on his Funky Friday Show with two other women. They were, having this discussion. And on there, he said that he doesn't have any platonic relationships with beautiful women or nice looking women. And, because patriarchy, right? Patriarchy. And us men understand why he said that. But of course, the beautiful women that he's referring to took offense to that because, well, they want to get close to him. Also, it was announced that his 106 in Sports show on BET also got canceled after one season, I believe specifically 8 episodes. That is also unfortunate. I don't believe that was tied to his comment. I believe it was just bad ratings. But in any case, a lot of people talked about it in conjunction with his statements. And so now we have here from the New York Post. This was February 19th of 2026 by Jenna Lemoncelli. That is a female. I looked it up just to make sure because some of the wording in here, some of the phrasing in here kind of lends to that. But in any case, former NFL MVP Cam Newton, father to 9 children, says women lose their value the more kids they have.
To this day.
Okay, got it. All right. Now, let's be clear here, men. There are some nuances to this, but of course, we also understand why he said this. All right. Him having 9 children and a woman having 4 or 5 children by, like I said, maybe 4 or 5 men. It's not the same, but women will tell you it is. All right. We're not going to argue that point, but from his perspective to the general public, this sounds highly hypocritical of a man that has multiple children, right? We understand the optics of his statement, all right? So let's get into the article and we'll actually watch the clip of the video where he says this. He was on It's Giving podcast. But before we get into it, of course, hit the like button. And if you are new to this channel, thank you for being here, all right? Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you want to further donate to the channel, hit the join button down below to become a member of the channel. All right. Hit the hype button to hype this video up, please. That would give me an algorithm very, very nicely. All right. Please do that. And hit the Cash App $, Mr. Normie, because I do this for fun, but I also do this for funds. Let's start the reading. Former NFL quarterback Cam Newton did not sugarcoat his perspective on marriage and relationships during an appearance on Wednesday's installment of It's Giving podcast. Newton, whose BET talk show 106 in Sports was canceled this week after one season, was brutally honest when asked, "Do you feel like women's value gets lowered when they have multiple children by multiple men?" by host Sarah Fontenot, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he said, quote, "I just think that the reality to that answer is women's value gets lower the more children they have. I was having this conversation with one of the mothers of my children, and she's still fine." Cam Newton, who has 9 children by 3 different women, said.
Enemy spotted.
That's what a lot of the women thought about his comment after he said that.
Enemy spotted.
Like I said, man, we understand why he said this. Of course, it's Cam Newton, so he is a public figure. And he's talking to a woman on this podcast, so she did her best to, kind of rationalize or try to get a little deeper into his answer. Also, another clip that I might react to was she was trying to ask him why he's never gotten married. And she was bringing up a whole bunch of what-if scenarios. And eventually he just stood on business and said, "I will do it on my own time or not at all." Of course, because women love the idea of being married, but not actually, doing the wifely, duties and things of that nature. They just love the idea of being married and being able to tell people that they're married and have a ring and the ceremony and all those kind of things, all the optics and the ceremonious things that they like that makes it feel good. But anyway, She tried to press him on marriage, and she also tried to press him on this whole thing of women having multiple children. So we're going to get into the video real quick and then round out the article. This is from TMZ. Cam Newton says women lose value the more children they have. Mind you, Cam Newton has 9 kids with 3 different women. Now, you see the phrasing here, right? They make Cam Newton sound like a complete hypocrite. And again, to the normie, it is hypocritical, right? So I'm not going to take that away from you there. However, there is levels to this. There is a nuance, and there is a perfect explanation for why men think this way. And yeah, I mean, and again, if you're a man, you have multiple children, well, you know, it's not the same thing like I said. Anyway, let's start the footage.
Do you feel like women's value gets lowered when they have multiple children by multiple men?
I just think that the reality of that answer is women's value get lower the more children that they have.
Break that down.
Because, and I was having this conversation, you know, with one of the mother of my children, and she's still fine.
Now, he was trying to, you know, get into a safe spot right there by saying, well, I discussed it with another woman, aka the mother or one of the mothers of my children. So he's playing it safe right there a little bit by saying, well, I already discussed it with another woman. She was okay with it. But most women are going to be like, nah, we ain't trying to hear that.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like I was telling her, I was like, yo, the guy that you're dating or will date, if he ain't willing to love on these 5 children that you have, that ain't the guy for you. Because when I came into your life, I was willing to accept you and whatever you had. And there's guys that's out there that's just going to say, them ain't my kids, I want you. Well, that ain't how it worked. But that's not to say that she can't find nobody.
Right.
I'm pretty sure she has somebody.
Right. But do you feel like it's as the best that she could possibly do if she didn't have children?
Well, you're talking to a dude that was once in her life. I don't feel like she's going to get better than me. That's just my confidence.
I don't even think it's confidence. I have said, and I might get eaten alive, I don't think most women do better than the father of their children.
That's facts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please do not excoriate me in the comments. Please don't drag me in the comments. But she said that she might get, you know, discipline in her comment section for this, but most men won't be able to do better than the father of their children. Now, in Cam Newton, he is a special case, if you will, an exemption to the rule, I would say, because Cam Newton has money. These women slept with him. And to be clear, men look at this a plethora of different ways, right? For one, you're a woman, you made a decision to sleep with a guy that he already had multiple children, and you decided to also sleep with him. So you made a conscious decision to be one of his baby mamas. Okay, we also look at is that, well, this is Cam Newton, and so you knew by having his child, you would be tied to this man who was a celebrity, no less. And you know he has a good heart, so he's going to pay you. If not, he will gladly pay the child support that's necessary to make sure that you are okay, because Cam Newton sounds like a kind-hearted person, even though he dresses, you know, kind of funny. He seems to be a genuine guy. And so things like that, just like, but in the neighborhood, you know, Pookie or, you know, Dan in the hood, all right, in the trailer park, well, you decided to sleep with this guy and he had multiple children. So that's how we look at it. And there's other things too, right? But of course, you having multiple children, like Cam Newton said, a man has to make a decision to not only be with you, but to also be with the children. That's what lowers your value. It's not you specifically. It's the decision he has to make to deal with the full dynamic of your situation. That's what lowers the value. It's not you specifically, but some women purposely just choose not to understand that. All right. But in any case, let's finish up. Quote. But like I was telling her, I was like, yo, the guy you're dating will date ain't willing to love on these 5 children that you have. That ain't the guy for you, because when I came up into your life, I was willing to accept you and whatever you had. Yes. The next man you get with as a single mother with multiple children, You will have to find a man that will, again, accept the responsibility of your situation, aka the baggage. He has 4 children. We're talking about Cam Newton. He has 4 children with ex-fiancee Kia Proctor, sons Chosen Sebastian, Camdis Swain, and Kashmir Saint, and daughter Sovereign Dior Cambella, and helps raise Proctor's older daughter, Shakira. So he's also a stepfather. Where is it?
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
He's also, being the man that stepped up with one of her other children, which again is admirable. He had a child by her. She already had children, so all good, right? The ESPN analyst shares 2 children with photographer La Renee Shaw, their son Caesar, and Shaw's older son Jaden from a previous relationship. Cam and his girlfriend Jasmine Brown welcomed a baby boy last July after the comedian gave birth to their daughter in March of 2024. Cam has a plethora of children. Newton and Fontenot went back and forth discussing their personal lives in the episode titled "You Can Be Happy," be happy without being married. It comes after the news this week that BET pulled the plug on 106 in Sports, the spin-off of the network's famed video countdown show 106 in Park, that he co-hosted with CBS basketball analyst Ashley Nicole Moss after an 8-episode run. Cam Newton announced Wednesday that he will reinvest in his 106 in Sports paycheck back into a 6-stop college football tailgate series this fall. I believe he says he's going to do that with the HBCUs, all right? The number 1 pick in the 2011 draft out of Auburn. He won the championship. Newton played 11 seasons for the Panthers, go Panthers, and Patriots, earning 3 Pro Bowl nods, an NFL MVP in 2015 when he led the Panthers, put respect on the name, when he led the Panthers to a Super Bowl appearance. He last played in the NFL in 2021 season with Carolina. All right, well, you heard what Cam Newton had to say, right? And you saw his reasoning, which I think is valid. He wasn't rude with it. He says, basically, the man that you get with is going to have to make a choice to not only be with you, but to be a father to the children, which is basically what every man that has said, and this goes past no RP or YouTube and that kind of stuff. This is in life. A man chooses to give the woman with children, he has to take care of the kids. That's the bottom line. That's just a fact, all right? You can't ignore that. If you're gonna be with a single mother, you gotta be a stepdad, all right? Automatically, immediately, okay? Unless she's like, well, you don't have to do it because of dad. Eventually, you're gonna have to do it, all right? It's just how it is. So y'all see it, right? Cam Newton, he said what he had to say, and I agree. With that being said, thank you for attending another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Let me know what you think about what Cam Newton had to say, and I hope y'all enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend. We're going to come back next week with some more fire content, all right? And with that being said, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that notification bell, comment on this video on your way out of the door. And remember, all you single mothers, reality checks are free. See you next time.